Bloomquist, and I'm going to try to persuade you to consider no-till farming in your operation today. Today, farm operations are looking to produce more with less inputs, and no-till is a proven way to do so. According to a study the USDA did in 2009, more and more acres every year are turning into no-till because it's a proven to be a form of sustainable agriculture, and it shows a lot more benefits that you don't see just on top of the soil, but it will show a lot more benefits than tilling the land. So I'm going to start off with how it works. It's just as it sounds. There's no tilling the land at all. It's the only soil disturbance that happens in your field is in the row, so just your trash cleaners on your planter pretty much is the only tillage system you have for your V-disc. It relies on natural processes to break down the crop residue. This will help build increase the productivity of your land because the organic matter will attract and hold the moisture and keep that from evaporating off. And with the slower breakdown of the crop residues, the organic matter will release vital nutrients that your crop needs to grow with, such as nitrogen and potassium and phosphorus. And a lot of people think that in no-till, when you plant, you go right down between the old two rows. You're not supposed to do that because that's where most of your compaction's at from your equipment driving over it. You actually want to plant about 4 inches from the old row because there's not so much compaction there. I found this picture here that shows different types of tillage practices. On the left here, or on your right here, that's a conventional tillage, and the middle is reduced tillage, and on the far left over there is no-till. As you can see with the conventional, they go in with a deep tillage tool like a plow or a ripper. Then after that, they're going to go in with a secondary tillage tool, maybe once or twice, just to get the seed bed leveled and prepared. And then they're going to plant, and then usually afterwards they're not going to go in there again, but they might with a real cultivator to take care of some weeds. With the reduced tillage, they just get rid of the deep tillage unit, and with no-till, you get rid of all of it except for your planter. As you can see, it's going to take a lot. Usually with your plowing or your primary tillage tool, you're going to need a higher horsepower tractor, and then you're going to also want another tractor to go hook up to the disc while you're out planting, so you're usually going to need another tractor or two. So with no-till, you can easily get rid of a tractor or two even, plus along with some of the tillage tools. Now onto the pros and cons of tillage, or no-till. Obviously you'll have a lot more time and less labor, and you don't have to spend all of that money on all the equipment they have to go buy. But other than that, you'll have an improved soil structure, simply because whenever you disturb the soil and turn it over, it releases carbon, and some of your microorganisms in your soil need that carbon to survive. So if there's no carbon, they're not going to be there. They're just going to either find a new spot or die off. Also, whenever you turn that soil over, it turns the moisture-rich soil up towards the top, and the sun will shine on it and dry it out. Another advantage is that you'll be able to better control your erosion. The old crop residue and its roots will hold in the soil, and you'll have a lot less erosion, so you'll keep your dirt in all one spot, so all of it washing down to the bottom of the soil. And another one is you can reduce your soil compaction, because the only compaction that's happening is just your tractor driving over with the planter instead of going over the whole field with a plow. Whenever you compact the land, you're taking out the air and water pockets that are underneath the soil, so your soil can't hold as much water, it will just run off. And as with most everything, there's always going to be some cons, but they're not too serious or severe. One of the cons, obviously, you can't control your weeds with mechanically, but you just have to use more herbicides. But most farms today with no-till or tillage, they are going to use herbicides anyway, so if you're going out with their sprayer anyway, you might as well use all the herbicide you need. also your residue can act as a host for diseases to overwinter in, but if you use a crop rotation, that will easily take care of your diseases. And the big side effect is that you don't see any of the benefits right away. It takes a good 3 to 5 years on average to start seeing some of the benefits take place. But if you use a cover crop, that can easily speed your process up 2 to 3 years. And one of the cons that you're just going to have to deal with is that the soils won't warm up as fast. As you know, you need to have about 50 to 55 degrees before your seeds will start to germinate. But since the residue is covering your ground, your sun doesn't hit it directly, so it's just gonna not warm up as fast. Right here's a picture here. This is intensive tillage, and right on the left side is long-term no-till. It's got this plow pan here. As you can see, that's where your ripper won't go down and break that up, so it just keeps packing it down there. And as you can see, you can't really see the roots very well, but your seeds right here, and then your roots will grow, and then they hit the plow pan, and they just spread out, and they have to compete with the other plants next to it. But with the long term, you got all these channels right here from the old roots or from organisms living in the soil. So all the roots right here will grow out in the dirt and follow the channels down in deeper soils, and they can get all the moisture and nutrients from down there. And the one thing you need to use with no-till is, what helps it out a lot is the cover crop. It's just a crop that you plant between your commercial crops. You probably do an aerial application because it needs about 30 days to be effective, and after harvest you don't really have too much time before the frost is going to hit. You can't really get a plant to start growing, so you have to plant it while your corn's starting to get. They'll need a full 30 days to start having some effect on your land, and a full 60 days to be fully effective. It improves the process of no-till by it'll break up the soil more with its taproot, and it'll bring all the nutrients from deeper in the ground up. It'll go about approximately 30 to 36 inches into the ground, which is pretty deep actually. And another thing with cover crops is if you have livestock, you can have a cheap source of protein and nutrients to feed off of during the late fall and winter. Like I said, with that taproot, it goes down pretty deep and brings up the moisture and nutrients that are far further down that your commercial crops can't get to. And this is a tillage radish right here, and it's got right at this. That's the compaction zone right here, and it'll get thinner at the compaction zone, and then it'll send out this deep taproot that will go about 30 inches down. It'll bring up the nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, and potassium up to the top, so your crop can get it where the roots will be at. And another thing is with the foliage up top, it'll prevent the winter annual weeds from germinating in the fall. So you have less herbicide use there. And also it'll block the sunlight, the soil from the sun, so it won't dry up too fast. I hope I was able to convince you to consider using no-till in your farm operations today, because it is a very effective way to increase yields and produce more with less. Thank you.